Okay, we're on. Welcome, everyone. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. I am so glad you made the time to pop out. This is going to be a very special evening where we get to pause with the new moon. This happens to be a special new moon eclipse. So we'll be here every month, weaving together astrology, embodied practices, and guidance from inspiring voices. And I am very excited to be here. And again, this is just for you. So please receive it. Take, what resonates and leave the rest. So we still have people joining. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm so excited because I have a very dear friend joining us tonight from Down Under, Daisy K. Divine. Daisy is a master facilitator, cacao priestess, body and breath worker, tantric practitioner. She supports deep personal growth through the arts of self-love and self-care. Born in the year of the white tiger, you may hear her speaking in meows and purrs, so don't be surprised if you hear a meow tonight, okay? And Daisy and I actually met during lockdown in 2020, where I was marooned in Byron Bay, Australia. And she actually has her own COVID story about why she was in Australia, which actually involves horses, but I'll let her tell you that if she wishes. But first, let's just go ahead and welcome Daisy. Welcome, Daisy. Thank you so much for being here.
Such an honor and a pleasure to be here, darling. But I have to say, originally we first met in Arizona, in Sedona.
That's right. At the hot
Yeah.
springs. Oh, the Epic Eden Hot Springs. That was such an incredible retreat. Daisy and I are both in the retreat world. So yeah, funny. We met at a retreat, both Daisy's been leading international retreats for what, 20 plus years now. And you're right, we did meet in Sedona. But we became fast friends during lockdown in Australia, which was such a blessing to get to know you during that time. So I sort of selfishly want you to tell your horse story, but it's up to you if you feel inspired.
I mean that that particular horse story is a difficult one because
I
it did
know.
involve the loss of my horses, but it did mean that it brought me to Australia. So I was gifted a horse in my late teens, which was actually my initiatory story. It was like what initiated me into the five element practices and deeply into the somatic world. So I had an experience over 7 months where I was lost in the forest, sank in a boat, was in a major car accident, met an embodiment of the devil, and then was in a farm fire and then gifted my white blue-eyed horse, which, I had for 30 years. And it was a couple of years after that, I went home after traveling, and my mum comes out with this pillow slip of I'd painted a pink horse with blue eyes, and my horse was essentially a pink horse with these blue eyes that I was gifted. And yeah, I journeyed with her for 30 years. And she was the reason why I did come back to Australia during COVID because I was going to, yeah, a lockdown situation. So was it was beautiful to come home and spend some time with her and her son, but unfortunately there was a fatal injury which meant that they both had to transition. But in that passing, a man came into my life who really absolutely chose me, and we absolutely love and adore and choose each other, which is really, really gorgeous. But so I feel like the baton of the relay of life partnership went from my horse into my current partner now, Tim Devine. So it's
But
a
I
brief little
know, I
story
know
on
that's hard for you to talk about the loss of them, but I think it's so pertinent actually to this eclipse because we're going to talk about this, but there's something called the Sabian symbols. And the Sabian symbol for this retreat is actually a butterfly or a chrysalis, and that energy of, something really has to die in order for something else to be reborn.
Mm.
But I see that as a love story. Like I feel like your horses brought you to your partner and your husband, and maybe you can share a little bit about the fact that you have been traveling all over doing retreats, and you did retreats in and out of Koh Phangan at the sanctuary in Thailand for many years. But since coming back to Australia and meeting and being chosen by Tim and all of that, you now live on this magic mountain. Okay, so Daisy lives on a magic mountain called Mount Tambourine. Oh my gosh, let's have a look at her view. It's divine, literally, and her husband's name is Tim Divine. So she has this divine, um, sanctuary now. It's really, you have your own retreat center. I always call it your magic mountain. Do you want to share a little bit about anything you're up to there or what it's like living up there?
Oh, well, been very blessed to come to this mountain, and my partner and I have built a small retreat center dedicated to Kuan Yin. So it's called Miao Shen Temple. So Miao Shen is one of the names of Guan Yin, and she is the goddess of compassion. So I'm deeply committed to the practice of bringing, transforming, alchemizing peace, pain into peace, hurts into forgiveness, and the places where we tighten into a deep softening. So here I'm really dedicated to those themes, and I am currently teaching workshops in Taoist abdominal training with nervous system regulation. So it's a fusion of abdominal work with nervous system regulation, which I feel is so essential that those two will work together because they are actually those physical pillars that create the foundation of the rest of our health. So I'm really loving that. And I'm very passionate about jaw release, which we'll be working with today.
Yes.
This is kind of the gate between the brain and the body. So we want to make sure that's nice and lubricated and sits perfectly, gorgeous and swings lovely. And yeah, I mean, I do all sorts of beautiful retreats, women's retreats, Taoist things up here. But what I'm really excited about at the moment is 2 weeks away. I have a leopard lounge. So the Infinite Shades of Leopard will be presenting a pop-up theatre restaurant at my beautiful property here. And I have a team of circus performers, burlesque players, and incredible musicians. So we'll be going from kumbaya to rock show to circus and burlesque. So I'm really excited about this choose your own adventure pop-up theatre restaurant experience. So if anyone wants to quickly fly on out, it's pretty exciting. I have one room available for accommodation still left.
Um,
Yeah, so I'm feeling really blessed. It's summer here. It's gorgeous. We just had some beautiful big rain, so everything's looking lush and yummy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys notice when Daisy starts like talking, do you just feel a type of relaxation occur? I do. I mean, she has this very luscious, relaxing voice. And I've lived in Australia for 5 years, very closely with you, and saw that you live a very relaxed, nervous system regulated life. Like this is who you are. You teach and you practice this, from everything that you do in your embodiment practices to having fun at the Leopard Lounge and making music and making merry. This is actually something that I was talking about earlier today is making a great life and having joy, is its own act of rebellion in many ways, but it's all a very luxurious reality, I notice that you have.
Well, what I realized, I was raised in a very workaholic environment and home. And so by the time I was 18, I had stomach ulcers, colitis. It was just like full on. Grown up with so many digestive issues and allergies to everything. And it was just, I got to a point where I was in hospital and the nurse was like, look around, what do you see? And I was 18 in a ward of people 50, 60, 70, 80. And she's like, you have an old person's stress related disease. You have to change it up. And so at that point, I made this decision to live a holiday lifestyle and still function in the mundane world. So what that means is having the balance. It's like day to day life is what we're living. We are living our day to day experience. Yet we still want to function in the mundane. We want to be able to do the things and flourish. But what is the balance? And for me, it was 7 days a fortnight. So I didn't work anymore than 4 days one week and 3 days the next week, and finding that balance and really curating each day as a form of devotional pleasure and connection and spaciousness, because I feel like in unscheduled time life's magic really unfurls. When everything's scheduled, there's no room for the spontaneity, and the spontaneity is where the richness happens. Where, for me, I can only experience speak from my own experience, but that's when I feel the most alive. When there's space to play, when there's space for like adventure. That's my little caveat. Make time for adventure and play.
Yes,
Mm.
we all need that and want that so much.
Mm.
Absolutely amazing. Well, we're going to dive in here, I think, to some of the content. And Daisy, I just want to let you know, like, as we're going through, if there's anything you want to share, please do pop in. But I do have some, pieces that we are going to talk about as we're moving from this number 9 year, which is an ending year of the year of the wood snake, all about shedding, releasing, and letting go of old skin. And we are moving into the year of the fire horse, which is a one numerology. So it's actually perfect for fresh start energy, new beginnings, taking action. And really, the words that are coming for me is courageous authenticity. I
Mm.
feel this is a year we could really break free and kind of follow our own heart's path, not from a place of like needing permission or approval, but because that's like generally what brings us, joy. So I do want to share one practice that I love, and I think Daisy does this as well, is the horse lips practice. Do you all do this regularly? Because I do. And so I'm going to invite us all to try that on now. My teacher, Amba Stapleton from the Nassar Yoga Institute, offered this in our yoga teacher training, which is literally just pretend you're a horse. You know how horses do that thing. So let's all just give that a try. Oh, and Daisy's got a head shake going too. Like that horse energy is so, it is very, there's a lot to do with the horse and the face and the jaw and the lips. So this is an actual nervous system release technique. And one of the things I just think is so important, I'm also going to bring in that I don't think this is a normal fire horse year. Like with everything happening astrologically right now, I actually think we're in unicorn territory. We are having like a convergence of so many cycles that we haven't seen in decades, like lifetimes, even thousands of years. So the Chinese animal changes every 12 years. And then the element, there's five elements. So it takes 60 years to come back to the same animal and the same element. So actually, the last time we were in a fire horse year was 1966, which is when we saw the rise of the hippie peace, love, counterculture movement, the civil and women's rights liberation movement. We had technological advancements that's led to like space exploration, all things that I think you could say are currently ongoing. Not only that, we have a 250-year Pluto cycle that's initiating this year, a 165-year Neptune cycle that's initiating this year, an 84-year Uranus cycle that's initiating this year, a 50-year Chiron cycle, a 36-year Saturn-Neptune cycle, an 18-year eclipse cycle, like a 12-year Jupiter cycle, an 8-year Venus cycle, like all of the cycles of almost every single planet are shifting and beginning in this year of 2026. So I just want to say a little buckle up, because get your get ready to ride a fierce horse. I think this cycle is a little bit different than some ones that we've been used to. Um, and then I'll just keep going on. So Aquarius energy. Okay. Daisy has a lot of Aquarius energy, by the way. I just want to say you have your Venus and Mercury in Aquarius. And the three
Empath.
archetypes, do you want to say anything about Aquarius?
No, not particular. No, you can
Okay, I'll keep
take it
going on.
away, take it away.
No worries.
But I do.
So
I will say one thing. I
yeah,
refer to Aquarius as Aquarius.
Aquarius. They're just
Aquarius.
a
Aquarius.
a query because there's a big query going on there. So the visionary, seeing what's possible like outside of the current structure. This is the out of the box energy. The water bearer that brings knowledge, nourishment, water, energy to the collective. This is the community element. The revolutionary or the liberator, it's the energy of, freeing ourselves from what we have outgrown. So, and here's the big thing, Pluto moved into Aquarius for the first time in 250 years in 2023 and to stay at the end of 2024. So it's really there now in 2025 for the next 20 years. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. In a previous cycle, in the 1500s, when Pluto was in Aquarius, Copernicus discovered that the heliocentral model, that the sun was actually the center of the solar system. And I don't really think, but if you could imagine that he didn't even publish it at that time because it was so controversial. It wasn't until later that Galileo published that, who was excommunicated and died in prison for saying such things. This is an interesting thing that, paradigm shattering shifts happen with Aquarius. And I think we're in that over the next 20 years where we're going to see a paradigm shifting landscape. And I just want to say I was talking with some girlfriends about this yesterday. We were speaking a little bit about, the difference between a rebel, right, and a radical. And
Mm.
Aquariuses are certainly known as rebels. They don't necessarily fit in. But a rebel fights against the old, where a radical is here to fight for and create something in the new. So I do feel there's a big invitation right now around this Aquarian energy. Um, Maybe to be a radical, not to be radicalized, okay, but to be radical in the way that you approach these changing times. So, a few more things. The Aquarius is actually an air sign. And to understand that, we got to look at all three of the air signs, right? Gemini, the twins, they are here to talk and connect the dots and scheme and be the eternal student and the messenger. We have Libra. the scales of balance here to restore connection and communication in relationships, right? And bring harmony where there's discord. And then Aquarius. Wow, yes. And Aquarius is the water bearer, which is really more here to serve the greater good of humanity. And they all operate a little bit differently. You know, the twins are more young and personal, and Libra is more relational, and Aquarius is more collective, right? All air signs, though, they share sort of this connective ability, right? Through breath, through the wind, through sound, through hearing. These are all the invisible forces that connect us. They're sort of more wired for this bird's eye view and have an orientation towards social intelligence and connection and higher awareness. Um, it's a very interesting thing to have fixed air, okay, because there's different modes, right? Gemini is mutable and changeable. Libra initiates and is cardinal, initiates a conversation, but Aquarius is fixed. And that fixed energy is really fascinating because it's not fleeting inspiration, right? Fixed air is about saying, look, I see a future vision and I'm not going to let go of it. I have a belief that I'm going to stay loyal to. I have a truth that I'm willing to hold on to, even when and think that might be, unpopular, or I might get excommunicated for it. So it's definitely really about change, becoming real, when an idea is held long enough to transform the system. There are two ruling planets associated with Aquarius. Traditional ruler is Saturn, or the architect. And what, gosh, why this is so crucial here. Saturn is the builder of structures. It's moving into Aries. Actually already has, where it is in a meeting point with Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusion and creativity. It's meeting at what's called the zero Aries point, which is a global world point, the beginning of the entire zodiac. Now, Neptune and Saturn come together every 36 years, but the last time we saw them in the zero point of Aries was about 6,000 years ago. So this is literally a 6,000 year cycle that we are beginning. The last time in our lifetime in 1989, when Saturn and Neptune came together, we saw things like the fall of the Berlin Wall and Nelson Mandela. I think it's Nelson Mandela from South Africa as well. There was a big piece there as well with that. So it's very interesting. Neptune is moving into Aries the first time in 165 years. The last time it was there, we had the US Civil War. And, we think about that, but I was really thinking about that today and feeling into what that might have been like. Um, there were humans at that time who went outside of the accepted normal way of believing and thinking and said, look, like I know in my heart, like slavery is wrong and we need to not do this anymore. And I just imagine how challenging that would have been for those first people who stood up against that and had a moral vision that they were so willing, to kind of sacrifice for. And I think that is what we're talking about here. Saturn, this Neptune in Aries is about a vision that requires courage. And, with Saturn being there, it's about what do we need to do on a very physical and real level to bring about that vision. So, it's a reality combination, right? And Aries kind of brings the courage for us to do that. I think is the dream and the action coming together. So how fire horse energy is that? It's like real strong coming forth here. So the other planet, the modern ruler is Uranus. This is the great awakener. And this year, Uranus will be moving from Taurus into Gemini. It doesn't happen until May. Okay, it's finishing this 7 year journey through Taurus, where it's been shaking up land and money and food in the material world. One of the biggest examples I have of this is, what we ran out of, during lockdown was toilet paper. It was like, that's a very Taurus thing, like our basic needs. And the chain was disrupted for our most basic needs. So once it does move in May, it'll move into Gemini. The last time it was there, again, American Revolution, Civil War, World War II, major turning points in history that revolutionized how we communicate, how we think. I think we all know we're on the verge of a technological revolution right now. And this is going to also um, change how I mean, I think you can get like pizza delivered by a drone now, and I think you can get it in a taxi that's not driven by a human. Like that advancement is really about to kind of pop off, I think. The other thing is that historians connect this Uranus cycle. Strauss and Howe called it the fourth turning, the idea that every 80 years society passes through a crisis that destroys the old order and births a new one. And we're in that point right now. So it's an after winter comes spring kind of an energy. And we are here to watch it, maybe be living in interesting times. This new moon is a solar eclipse, and solar eclipses and eclipses in general, they're called dragon holes or doorways or portals. So they're moments when the veil is thin and something faded moves through. This is not like necessarily easy stuff, eclipses, things can happen real quickly. With eclipse energy, it can activate and change things very rapidly. Patterns, timelines, identities can be accelerated. Um, and this eclipse is special because it's opening a new series of eclipses on the Leo Aquarius axis. So the south node is moving into Leo, and the north node is moving into Aquarius, and will be in these eclipse energies for the next 2 years. The Leo Aquarius axis has a lot to do with the individual, right? Leo, me and my story and my heart and what I have to share, and the community and what goes into and the collective, right? It's personal courage and collective progress. So I think we're going to, over the next couple of years, be seeing themes around authenticity, bravery, creativity, childlike joy, community, progress. Who are your people? How can you make connections and contribute to your community in a way that is advancing? Aquarius can also feel a little bit alienated at times, like they don't fit in. So I think we also have to watch that, how technology connects us, but also how it can separate us. So this is a big piece of the medicine of this eclipse. As I said, there's a Sabian symbol associated with each degree. And the message for this eclipse at 29 degrees Aquarius is a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. So this is the final thing, before transformation occurs. It's not the middle, it is literally the threshold. And
Final countdown.
it's the final countdown, right? This
Yeah.
is not like, let me just, fix my hair, before I go on stage energy. This is literally, I have to completely die and become goo before I become something else entirely. So we're talking about a total reinvention of initiation. When an individual changes, we do have the power to transform those around us and the world around us as well. So it's about becoming better versions of ourselves. It's about becoming better versions of our world and our society. And the cool thing is, on the other side of this, we get to fly, and be butterflies. So that's always fun, I'd say. So, just two more pieces here I'll share with you. So, as far as the astrology goes, this is the chart of the exact moment of the eclipse. Again, we've touched on a lot about this already here, but the Aquarius moon and sun are here. They are in a pretty tight square to Uranus. When the Uranus comes into play, we can also often have like unexpected events or chaos or things going sideways or technology not working. And this energy initiates today, okay, but an eclipse window is really between now and the 2 weeks between now and the full moon. And it really is also between now and this next 6 months when we have the next set of eclipses. So, but the month, certainly around that eclipse, we can see some energies that might be like that. And Uranus and Aquarius both are associated with the nervous system. So things can be energetically heightened. They can feel buzzy with energy like this. So I do think it's extra important to try and work with the calming and, the easing of the nervous system during this time. Mars is also in Aquarius. I certainly do very much think about this as the rebel or the radical, as we have discussed. Again, we've talked about this Saturn-Neptune conjunction. I mean, you can see it here. It's exactly at 0 degrees. It's the very beginning. It becomes exact in a couple days, but this is a theme for the whole year. The last time we had major outer planets making big conjunctions was 2020. So we're in a kind of time where we have a lot of similar large scale shiftings occurring this year. And the other thing I want you to notice is that the nodes, okay, so these little things that look like horseshoes, they're still in the previous sign of where the eclipses have been for the last year and a half in Venus and Pisces and Virgo. So they haven't quite shifted yet. We are going to have a new moon solar eclipse in Leo in August that I think is going to be extremely powerful. So pay attention to that. But the thing I'm really noticing is almost exact here is the North Node, which is the evolutionary call to our Dharma, to our purpose at this time, is conjunct Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, in the sign of Pisces, which is all about deeply connecting. It's the sign of faith, of deep trust and surrender, of love that transcends logic. Um, you know, it's right there in the middle of it all. And Pisces is an interesting one because it is the sign and the energy that like even when it's heartbroken, even when it's been betrayed, even when it's been a victim, even when there's injustices, even when there's things to let go of and to release, and even when there's grief, that part of the energy and practice of Pisces is to make peace, um, to bring about forgiveness and compassion. And this really actually brings me back to what, Daisy was saying about Kuan Yin and that, extreme level of compassion for ourselves and the people we're in relationship with and humanity at this time. It's not necessarily an easy time to be alive for a lot of people. Um, no, and if you see what's happening in many countries and on the news, there's a lot of upheaval, which can be challenging for very sensitive folks, to deal with. And so I think it's very, I think this is like the beautiful rainbow moment, and the unicorn energy is like this Piscean Venus energy that's really calling us to remember love, to remember our heart, to remember compassion, to remember forgiveness. There's a beautiful trine also over here to Jupiter. So Venus, Mercury is actually trining Jupiter at the moment, but Venus will also be doing that this week. So that feels like a really nice transcendent point to it all. Um, Last slide, and then we'll get going. So I just really want you to be thinking about, these are the bigger picture themes, but, how do you apply this to your own life? And I work with rising signs and the house system, whole sign house systems. So if your rising sign, this is what I would have you do is take a look at your rising sign, and we can kind of go through these quickly, but understand which houses are being activated and what those houses represent. So if you are an Aries, this eclipse is falling in your 11th house of community, and the Leo eclipse is in creativity, and there is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction happening in your first house. So this would be a year to reinvent how you use your creative energy and share it with your community. Taurus risings are going to be getting activated on their fourth house, 10th house, which is career and home. So this can very often shift where you live, the work that you're doing, and it can be very challenging for Taurus risings because they, kind of like to set it and forget it. But there's a spiritual initiation happening here for you with Aries. So this is going to require sitting and being with the unknown. Gemini risings, you have an activation going here on the third house, ninth house, which really has to do with your learning on a higher level, the beliefs that you hold. And then you have a strong initiation happening in your 11th house. So, how do you take what it is that you know and believe and share that with your community? Cancer risings are getting activated on this eclipse portal through the eighth house of transformation and intimacy, on the second house of money. So stories of money may come up for you, and self-worth, and how you share your resources with others. Um, and you have that Saturn-Neptune conjunction happening in your 10th house. So maybe it's a time to start something new in your career. Leo risings. Okay, so this eclipse is happening in your house of partnerships and relationships, and will also aspect yourself and your identity. So, oftentimes, when you have eclipses in those areas, you may need to change the way your relationships are set up. And this is a new beginning for you around your beliefs, or ninth house seems it could also be teaching and travel. Virgo risings, I think you're going to be a little bit happy that the eclipses are going out of your sign, and they're instead going to be initiating in your sixth house of health and 12th house of spirituality. So you guys really need to watch your energy and your health and get a good routine. You have a Saturn Neptune happening in your eighth house. So again, really understanding your energy and all the projects that you have with other people, the intimacy, anything having also to do with taxes or debt could come up. Libra risings, this is initiating in the fifth house of your creativity and joy, and how you share that with your community. And you're having a new beginning in your partnerships and collaborations house. Scorpio risings, again, back to the fourth house, 10th house. So you may be working with having to shift jobs, shift homes, and work with a new health regimen. Sagittarius on the third house, ninth house. Again, this is how you communicate what you learn, your beliefs and your worldview. Teaching and travel opportunities may come in, and you have a new beginning around your creative house. Capricorn rising. So we're working again with the second house, eighth house. This has to do with your money and other people's money. So this is a new initiation around new, maybe eclipses around second house. You really got to tighten up all those money fronts here. With this, Capricorns are usually good about that. Pay attention to that. And you have a new beginning in your home or family house. Aquariuses are going to be having a new or a change around their identity and their purpose and their relationships. And they may have something they need to communicate in a new way and about who they are or what they know. Pisces, we're moving into spirituality and their inner world, the sixth house, 12th house. So this is initiating a pretty big piece around finding deep rest and connection to spirit. And then the second house of money and values. So starting a new cycle around that. Okay, guys, I know that was lots of words and such. This is someone said they had to bounce. That's okay. We have this recorded. I'm just going to take a stop with that and come back here into everybody and just say, I hope that was helpful. I know there's a lot of info with astrology. Sometimes it can be kind of heady. But I think the main key things I really want you to understand about this year of the fire horse and this eclipse is it's a pretty big shift. Okay. And as we are shifting and changing, as humans and as part of a global collection of humans, how can we integrate and work with this in a way that feels nourishing and feels supportive to deal with, literally something like moving from a caterpillar into a butterfly. Ah, thank you. So that's why we have Daisy here with us today, is going to share with us some practices. Before we do, I'll just check in with her or anyone else. Actually, anyone else have any questions real quick before we go into that? Robin, you have to unmute yourself, I think. Yep. Hi, Robin.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Wanted to say hi, beautiful Daisy. Oh,
Mhm.
Daisy and I are connected in such a magnificent way, and she really kind of saved my life at one point in my life. I
Hmm.
was in a very, a really horrible relationship that was really, I needed to fly from. So thank you. I love you always, Daisy, for being that rock, that solid rock, although she's such an air woman. She also is so grounding, so grounded, this woman, right? So just want to say thank you. It's interesting. I was thinking about listening to all that you brought. Thank you so much for all that wonderful information and inviting today. And um, I think of Steiner. I studied at Rudolf Steiner College 30 years ago. I studied biodynamics and was a Waldorf teacher for a long time. I'm now a postpartum doula, and I do lots of things, but long and the short, Steiner really spoke of these times in the way of old Saturn, looking at those Saturn forces and about how we need to kind of let go of this old dirty technology and tune into the real technology, which is so not in this physical plane of how we see technology. And that the purest technology is totally clean. Clean energy is coming. And it's time, the fall of these uh, larger forces that are holding us into this old way of thinking and being are literally being destroyed before our eyes. So, as much as it's scary, it's also really wonderful. And also, going back to 5,000, 6,000 years ago, you think about Ayurvedic medicines, like the rise and bringing back of these ancient ways. And so, yeah, that came to me. I kind of downloaded that uh, in my work. I work with craniosacral biodynamics. So I feel really connected with Daisy in this way of like understanding that this is a way. It's really for me, I help mothers to come back to their nervous systems and to heal them. So, yeah, thank you for gathering us today.
Thank you
I'm
for
glad to
being here,
meet you.
Robin. And
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up specifically. I really want to touch on what you said, and because I say this a lot. What is our human technology system, right? Like our human te but biology and technology. There's a whole lot we don't know actually about how our bodies function. And there is also a lot that we have learned very recently about the nervous system and trauma and how that all functions. But I still think there's a lot that we have yet to discover. I could definitely see the next 20 years being a time where we discover even more. It's sort of like that Galileo Copernicus thing. It's like, oh, actually, the sun is the center of the solar system. I feel like we're on the brink of some of that awareness around humans and our DNA and our nervous systems being like, oh, actually, this is how our body works. It's like we're just this close to really getting a deeper picture of that. And I do think some of the ancient practices and also some of the newer practitioners that are really coming out right now and sharing around the nervous system resetting and trauma is so important during these times. So, yeah. Daisy, darling, what do you have to say about that, if anything?
Yeah, I hear about these discoveries, but I really feel like the thread is the discovery through personal practice, actually, and the way that we cultivate this new technology, this clean energy, is actually the self-mastery of our own systems, because we are miraculous creatures. We have these sensorial bodies that give us access to our superhuman capacity. And so the more, what I see, the more we outsource that to tools and systems external from our physical and energetic being, the less empowered we are actually. So the more tools that we have, the more tools we have for communication, the less we actually communicate. I see all the kids now and they have absolutely no interpersonal human personal skills, yet we have more tools for communication than ever. But the most important one that we're not cultivating is our resonance, is our personal development and in our personal resonance. The more we can spend in our sensory awareness of developing our sight, our hearing, our quality of touch, all these proprioceptors, the more magnificent we become, the more graceful life becomes, because then we become attuned to the field where we can feel beyond what is obvious. We become attuned to the unobvious. No, that's not a word. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Energy, air, this Aquarius thing is that beyond what we can see with our eyes, but it is what we can feel. And, we talk
Absolutely.
about this stuff, and it even reminds me back to the hippies days. It was like the vibes, the vibes. It's like, what are the vibes? You can feel it, you can't see it, but it's there. And yeah, I think that's really valid. And I really want to share that, all the planetary energies are going into fire and air, and not a whole lot of earth embodied energy except Chiron. Chiron's
Mm.
going to be moving into Taurus, which is really the healing that we need. And I do really see that as somatic healing coming online, healing that is, of the earth, of the physical, is going to become so needed and so necessary. The more, the technology and the robots and all that stuff is going, the more we are going to need this connection to our bodies and our earth as a way of staying real and staying human.
And each other. I think, we need to organize connection. As it's like the reason these big systems work is that they have the power of organization, right? And so all of their things are about creating diversity and division and separation, because our real power is in community and physical connection. The more we can physically be in spaces with our community and in an organized ways, the more power that we have. So I feel really passionate about that aspect. It's like I'm doing a podcast next week that's wildcrafting as a revolutionary act. It's like the wildcrafters and the builders and the hunters are ultimately going to be the ones to inherit the earth. It's the ones that stay really connected to the finite humanism and nature are the ones that ultimately will survive, because humanity doesn't have a space in the robots. Like, we ultimately become robots. Robots don't ultimately become us. I don't know. This is where Una and I differ, because she loves,
Well,
she's like, yeah,
I'm a
robots. And I'm
Gemini
like,
moon, and like I like techie stuff, but
robots.
I'm like down to make friends with the robots, and I'm like, fine, they can do my laundry, whatever. But but I think what's important to understand is like the cat's out of the bag on this one. Like it's not a choice. Like that technological development is going to continue whether we want it to or not. What is a choice is how we use that as a tool. And I do see something becoming extremely valuable, which is the antidote to that, which is what you're talking about, Daisy, which is this real human shoes off in the garden, making food, connection, connecting to my body, my nervous system, my energy, not outsourcing my energy to something technological, but really being able to tap into my own energy body. And like, I really think that humans have a technology system, and I say it like that, but I'm talking about our energy and how, the yogis knew about it, and the Ayurveda knew about it, and, getting to these different levels of consciousness and awareness by, but it's right. Daisy's right. I mean, it happens through our body. It doesn't happen out here, it's through in here. So I think places like this, like I want to empower all the people. Like I think we need tech-free zones. I think we need leave your phone at the door moments. Like I think we need all that, as an antidote to some of the technology that's going to be growing. So I'm a both ander is all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was thinking about that, like our nervous systems, ultimately the transportation of electrical impulses carried through water and fluid, so we have these what seem to be opposing pieces, but actually so deeply reliant on each other. So our internal electrical systems is our nervous system, and how that does co-regulate. So yes, I'm responsible for mine, but as a thread in the weave of the fabric. And so, the more we take care of our own individual nervous system, the effects of that ripple out so enormously. So I really want to bow down to each person that is doing the personal work and taking the time to cultivate peace and self-regulation, because it really is such an enormous ripple effect out into the world. So may we keep gathering and cultivating peace and finding the places where we really truly connected as one, as individuals in a collective of togetherness and sameness, and finding the places where we can unite, because the more of us do that, the greater this transitionary period shall be, actually. Yeah. Oh,
There it is.
yeah.
The compassion, the meow, the compassion
Yeah.
piece,
Yeah.
this oneness, we're actually a lot more the same, than we are different. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, I'd love to move and shift here a little bit. Are you guys up to experience some nervous system regulation with Daisy? Yes. Okay. Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
What's our time frame, darling? So we're obviously very organized. No.
Yeah, no, we're good. This is a 90-minute call. It's up to you how long of a practice you want to do, but I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, something 15 minutes,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Does anyone need a little quick water break?
Bio
Water
break
in,
or
water out. Toilet break, 1 minute. I think I will.
anything?
Yeah.
Okay, great. We have a 1 minute little mini bio break. If anybody wants to share anything, you're welcome to. Or any questions, just go ahead and mute yourself if you do not need to go to the bathroom, that is.
Where are you, Una?
Hi, I'm in the cosmos. No. So yeah, I was down in Australia from 2020 to 2025, and then I recently moved to upstate New York, which is a whole different world. It's actually, I was talking about that. It's literally white.
Wow.
It's been white outside for a while, which is not my favorite color. I'm definitely more of like prefer a tropical Mediterranean palette. Okay. But I'm here hanging out, spending time with my grandma right now, and yeah, so
And you're so cute together. The two
my
of you.
Gigi. She's
Yeah.
hilarious. I know I should get her on here one of these nights.
I'm surprised you haven't already.
She's off in her own world. Very happy lady. She's that with the Leo queen, the Leos. They just do whatever they want. Alrighty. Well, Miss Daisy, why don't you share with us what it is you're about to share with us?
Great. So welcome everybody. So today we're going to be really looking at this place of the jaw and also the back of the head. So really see that these are the gateways between the brain and the bridge of the neck meeting the body. So this I feel this is the number one grounding gate that is essential for us to ultimately cultivate safety in the body. So we can visualize all we want, roots coming out the feet, but if this is clammed and jammed, then we can't actually dissolve those repetitive thoughts or get the information from the body up into the brain, because the wandering nerve, our parasympathetic nerve, is 70% fibers from the organs and the senses into the brain, and only 20-30% coming the other way. So it's so important and vital for us to get correct head and jaw placement for this flow of energy to move through freely, so we can access that sense of equanimity and groundedness. So just to start with, we're just like, just have a little shuffle out the shoulders, the arms. It's like, the rib cage. Can I move my rib cage separate to my ribs? I mean, separate to the hips. It's like, can we, like, yeah, make that room between the ribs and the hips, shuffle down into the hips and the legs. I've been sitting for an hour, so it's like, can we clench and open the toes and the hands? It's like the brain really looks at the hands, the feet, and the face the most. So what we do with those things really informs the nervous system and the brain function a lot. So we can stretch right out. Let's take a moment to claim our personal space. It's just like, how much room can I make around me right now? Above, behind, to the sides. And it's like, here we are just creating some personal space. using the breath as wind to blow out any dust. Yeah. Yeah. Taking a deep breath. Maybe raise the hands up to the heavens. Imagining you're gathering stars from the heavens, reaching out the left and right. And gathering that starlight and pulling it down either side of our body. Like imagine this healing starlight illuminating the spaces around us all the way down to the earth. Imagine that the fingers become long tendrils scooping into the earth. So we're really uniting that heavenly and earth energy. And coming up, let's bring our hands to a little build a fire. We have this fire horse here. So how do we cultivate the fire to bring life to where it's become stagnant? Yeah, we'll build this fire within and bring it to the face. And with how much loving tenderness can we meet the face to start with? So can we bring fire with loving kindness to meet ourselves? To lovingly caress our sacred skin, this place where we meet the world. Can we just take a few breaths, a few moments to really bring loving tenderness to our sacred skin, to this physical bridge between the seen and the unseen. And bringing the hands to the place where the neck and the back of the head meet and giving yourself a good squeeze there. It's like, oh, let's squeeze these muscles. Oh, like a cat pawing at a cushion, the back of your head there. It's like, oh. It's just like, how do we create the most comfort here? Yeah. And come around giving the jaw a little squeeze, a little brush from the chin out. And then we're going to take the hands from under the ears down into the clavicle. And we're just opening this sequence with a little bit of lymphatic drainage to open the gates all the way from the back of the head down the back of the neck. So we want to open up the gates for the fluids to flow from our beautiful brain into our beautiful body. And taking a little tap above the clavicle here from the outside in. Yeah. Does anyone already feel a little softer, more relaxed? And then we go tap from underneath the clavicle bone from the inside to the out. So a little tap. So this is the natural sequence of our lymphatic fluids that drains out down through the neck, from above into the center, and from below out into the armpit. Yeah. And take a little taps across the chest here. Una's feeling the relaxation already. And let's just take a little moment to close the eyes and let the hands rest wherever it feels good for you. That we take a pause to notice the effects of the practice. May kind eyes be closed, but sweeping left and right on the inside. Can we let loving awareness sweep the inner spaces with our insight, with the direction of our eyes? Sweeping left and right shoulder. And coming up through the neck, left and right. When we sweep across that imaginary center line, we help to bring more harmony between the hemispheres of our brain and the hemispheres of our bodies, like weaving back the fabric, tightening the seam, and letting the eyes really look up into the brain, into the skull, letting the eyes sweep left and right, and also behind and in front. And draw a tiny upward lift at the corners of the mouth. So there's this loving awareness that's being carried with our insight. And notice how that changes the feeling by simply turning the corners of the mouth upward. How does that affect the quality of your presence of self-connection? Sweeping eyes left and right. And may we let the eyes sweep down from the brain, through the neck, the shoulders, the rib cage, sweeping left and right through the ribs, the belly, your beautiful belly. Can we soften any holding in the belly and the hips? Letting the eyes sweep down through the left leg and the right leg, and into the earth beneath us. Just sweeping the eyes into the earth beneath us, left and right. And may we take a deep breath in, like we're sucking in through a straw, up from the feet to the top of the crown. So, and a big heart, exhaling, letting the body wriggle and soften like you're melting into the earth beneath. A big straw breath, pulling all the earth's chi up through the legs, belly, chest, neck, top of the head. Oh, and a nice sigh, a sound as we wriggle out. It's like, oh, they're sinking into the earth. We take one more straw breath, drinking the earth's chi all the way up through our body, legs, belly, chest, neck, head, the space above the head. Oh, and taking that sigh, giving the jaw a little stretch and blinking the eyes open. It's like, oh, and taking a little moment to stretch out the jaw while we have a look around to the space where we are. So, oh, can the jaw and the mouth and the lips like reach around? Or we just take a minute to orientate ourselves in space and time. It's like, what's actually here? Let the eyes seek as far out as you can see. Might be out in through the window past glimpses of trees or the farthest corner of the room, the space behind and above. And take a little moment to look whoever might be in the screen, just to see and be seen for a little moment. The greatest gift we offer another human being, just to take a moment to see and be seen. To let your eyes say, I see you. You are beautiful. You are worthy. Yeah. Yeah. You are so, so needed. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to take a little moment to come back into our center, and we're going to push, even bring the hand to the back of the head, and we're going to push the back of the head into the hand while the chin slightly comes towards the chest. So it's like, oh, can I draw the chin slightly towards the chest and push the back of the head back? And draw some little figures of eights or circles with the back of the head here. Can we lift and lengthen through the back of the neck and head to connect the hose that is our spine to the brain and the rest of the body? It's like, oh, massaging out any kinks any folds in the back of the head where that thread can get very congested. It's like, oh, can I open that space here? Pushing into the back of the room. Bringing the head over the body. Yeah. I'm going to do some nice, like, walk like Egyptian movements. Oh. So head very forward, head very back on this straight line. It's like, oh, walk like an Egyptian. Chicka, chicka, ticka, 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 ticka. We really want to open up this gate at the back of our head, which connects us to our wise body, our wise brain to our wise body. So, take a couple of more breaths to really move into that. Maybe some big circles forward and back, lubricating these hinges very much through the back. So the chin comes forward and the back of the head pushes back. Chin comes forward. Oh, back of head pushes back. And changing direction. Oh, it's like, how forward can the chin? It's like, can we touch each other's chins? And take it around. Oh, and taking the ears to the shoulders. And can we play with that as well as stretching the jaw at the same time? It's like, oh, bringing the ears to each shoulder. Oh, giving the jaw. We're going to take the jaw nice and wide while we're stretching the ears to the shoulder. So we're pulling the shoulders down and drawing the ear to the shoulder. So the shoulders are drawn down to the earth and the ears try and come and reach that earthbound shoulder, stretching the jaw. And one more each side and resting into the center. And again, just taking a little pause between activities to notice the effects of the practice, to let the eyes flicker close, the corners of the mouth turn upward. We take a little moment to notice what's here now, and can we notice without naming, just becoming lovingly aware. And I bring loving awareness to notice without naming what's here now inside this sacred body. Is my head over my beautiful body? Can I lift and lengthen through the back of the neck? And with our eyes remaining closed, we're just going to take our jaw and wiggle it left and right. It's quite a quick movement. As we breathe and wiggle the jaw left and right. If you want to take a little peek, you're welcome. If we're trying to move a stuck post, we wiggle it to free it up, right? So we wiggle that jaw left and right. And now we're going to open and close with the jaw, and quite quickly. Making sure the back of the head still gently pushing into the space behind us as with the jaw opens and closes quickly. And you can even make some sounds, some horse lips here. So how soft can the lips be as we open and close? And then, darling hearts, we're going to chew the cud like a cow, as wide and as round as we can. And we can slow the movement down now. It's like how long and slow and round can we explore the full rotation of our jaw? Taking the jaw right over to one side and scooping as deeply as you can down and around to the other side and across. Using the lips to really help the expansion of that movement. How can I use my lips to help find more room in this circle, and we can change direction of the circle? Then we come back, and then we take 3 breaths, wide open jaw. Try not to close the jaw on the exhale. Nice, long, slow breath. As wide as the jaw can be. Keeping the jaw as wide open as you can. We'll take a few more breaths here. We'll rest here for a little while. Wide as the jaw can be. The breath long and slow. Not closing the mouth on the exhale, just the mouth stays open with the inhale, exhale. One more big breath all the way in, all the way out. Oh, oh, oh. And letting the jaw go and taking a pause again to notice the effects of the practice. Kind eyes blinking closed as the jaw softly hangs. And may we gently lift and lengthen through the back of the neck and head, and let the jaw relax downward as the tongue rests anywhere on the roofs of the mouth. The jaw hangs softly as the tongue rests anywhere at the roof of the mouth. And may we take a moment here to softly rest. Bringing our awareness to the nostrils. And if this very moment had a scent, what scent would it be? Letting the nostrils flare and the jaw remain soft. We take a moment to lick our lips and notice if this very moment had a taste, what taste would it be? And can we taste with loving curiosity? Notice if that changes the quality of the sense when we bring loving curiosity to the quality of taste. And taking a deep breath in and then a sigh on the exhale. May we shift our awareness to our beautiful ear, expanding loving awareness in our listening. Can we listen with loving awareness to the very sounds of this moment? And may we take another deep breath in through the nose, in, opening the jaw, taking a sigh on the exhale. Oh. And may we lovingly bring our hands around ourselves to the arms, to the upper arms, just like, can we bring loving caresses to our skin right now? And with how much loving awareness can we meet ourselves? How does loving awareness meet you? And what if we slow it down a little more? And what if right now you could whisper a love note to yourself, to offer some words of love and appreciation to yourself right now? How would that feel? Let yourself breathe in the messages that we can lovingly caress in right now. Maybe we take a deep breath in and give ourselves a big squeeze, like you're the most delicious, most sacred, most needed, beautiful being in the whole world. It's like, oh, you might even meet yourself like you would your favorite pet, just for a few moments. Like, oh, so good, so beautiful. Maybe take a deep breath, squeeze and release. Oh, may we take a little moment to bring our hands in prayer in front of our heart as we unify our masculine and feminine, our left and right, in the spaces of both above and below us. To the spaces behind, may we take a breath to feel the unseen support, the many infinite hands that hold us. And a breath to the space before us, may it be paved in peace and grace and ease. And may we take a breath to the central channel, to the space, the thread that unites us from the heavens to the earth, through our spine, our bones, our blood, flesh, all the cells and molecules of our beautiful being, the blood and fluid. May we take a breath to give thanks for all that we are, for we are sacred. May we remember that each of us is precious and needed, and that we may treat ourselves as such. Taking a breath in this remembrance. May we blink our eyes open to see each other as precious, as worthy, as needed. To offer this greatest gift that we can ever offer another human being, and it is our loving presence. Yeah. So thank you, thank you, thank you for gathering today. Thank you, Una, for your incredible wisdoms and insights, and to each of you for your beautiful ripples out in the world. Infinite blessings, darling hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
Meow. Thank you. Oh. Hmm. Just a little hand raise if your energy feels any different than what you can. Thank you so much, Jay-Z, for sharing that medicine. And it's just reminds me how simple it can be. You know, it's these breath practices and these movements and the touching of our own body and Your luscious like voice really helps a lot too. But it's really simple stuff that can radically shift our energy system. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you and your medicine. It's so, so special. Did Darcy just raise her hand or was that an accident, Darcy?
It might have been a
Wow. Yes, yeah, you're right. It sometimes says that. So, darlings, as we are, moving into this eclipse portal between now and the full moon, I really want to invite and inspire you that if things are getting wiggly, there's a Mercury retrograde in Pisces where things can get kind of messy and wiggly, and the full moon
when's that?
it's in the next couple of weeks. So it's and then the next eclipse, I'll just tell you when that is real quick. It's March 3rd, where the sun is in Pisces and Mercury retrograde and the moon is in Virgo. And so that feels like that could be kind of an emotional one. So I
Mm.
just want to invite you back into like some of these practices. Like these are things that you can do, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you have, um, to really reconnect in. This is a portal that we just opened, like, and this container and these practices, like they're here throughout this entire eclipse portal for you. So I just really want to invite and inspire you to consider that. You can come back to the recording or you can just kind of remember and do some things that feel good, but definitely more horse slips through the year of the horse. I do that a lot, and it has an immediate shift. And yeah, Daisy's adding the head. So just remember, that can be something you do 20 times a day if you're or while you're working at the computer, and just shifting that energy. So
Mm.
yeah, thank you so much again, Daisy. Y'all should check out Daisy. She's at daisykdivine.com. Is that right? And she does live in Australia and Mount Tamarine if you're ever down under. I'm hoping we can bring a group to her Magic Mountain someday soon. And in the meantime, check her out on her site. I know she just got a new site which kind of features all the things she's up to, and you can kind of see her Meowshan temple. And I know she also does things online as well. So yeah, sometimes when she's outside of her, mainly in her garden and her hot tub and her magic mountain, though. Doing it right. So thank you for being like an inspiration and just reminding us that you can live a very beautiful, grounded, embodied, connected life, Daisy.
Mm. It's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. All right, darlings. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you all. Sending you tons and tons of blessings for the eclipse season and use those tools to keep regulating your nervous systems.
Thank you, everyone. Stay soft out there.
Yes. Ciao,
Thank you,
ciao.
everybody.
Thank you. Many blessings.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good to